windy road that can often be uncertain and terrifying, but ultimately leads to a life full of memories and fulfilling outcome. Each phase of Ronnie's life served to mold him into an extremely loving and caring person. Ronnie was the fourth child born to Braxton and Marguerite. His formative years were spent working with his family on a farm. His family house and farm were connected to a larger property that belonged to his grandfather Haraway's farm, which during his childhood was worked by his daddy's brothers. This living arrangement led to binding family relationships with aunts, uncles, and cousins that followed Ronnie to the end of his life. Farm work taught him the value of hard work and to appreciate the love of a strong Christian family. Ronnie said his granddaddy Haraway's favorite hymn was "We'll Work Till Jesus Comes," and often he thought that if Jesus would come on, he'd get to rest for a while. Living so close to cousins certainly had its benefits. When there were too many foot tubs of beans to break or too many bushels of corn to shuck, having kin close by that could drop in and help was a blessing. When you grew up in the country and all your cousins were girls, it led to less cowboys and Indians instead of making mud pies, softball games in the cow pasture, knock the tin can, Annie over, Piggy Wants a Motion, plus on a rainy day, card games of all kinds. As a child, Ronnie treasured his farm playset. He had many miniature farm animals, fencing, and barns. That was the foundation to his later return to cattle farming after retiring from the workforce. At 4 years old, Ronnie had polio. It left him with one leg shorter than the other and returned him to losing the ability to walk for a short while. He was determined to learn to walk again and had a pretty normal childhood, but it was thought to be the cause of the terrible, intense physical pain that he had in his last years. Ronnie was married on September 21st, 1972 to Lois, and they had two girls, Margot in 1977 and Amanda just before he turned 33 years old. It is funny how God's work, I guess all those girl cousins probably prepared him for raising girls, so he took them along just about everywhere. He helped potty train them in pastures and on roadsides when they became expert squatters. He raised his daughters to know the value of hard work tending cattle, mending fences, gathering fruits and vegetables from the gardens, picking and shelling beans, and on and on. But all this hard work was often interrupted for a break to explore the bluffs of Pine Haven shores, looking for arrowheads or admiring the fresh moss, and teaching them about the various trees and vegetation. Sometimes on a hot summer day, they may explore the creek bottoms or carve in a beech tree, come home just a little bit early from chores for a quick splash in Second Creek and a boat ride, which always included water skiing. As the girls got older, he was determined to have them travel through the continental states. They made it through many provinces of Canada as well. His last vacation was with his grandkids to Hawaii and Alaska to complete his mission to all 50 states. On two separate occasions, he took off with just the girls on 2-week summer vacations exploring national parks and old cemeteries. Yes, cemeteries. Probably the least favorite for the girls, as he looked and tracked ancestors. He was a genealogist and tracked all our ancestry all the way back to the early 1700s. Ronnie loved to travel, and he took the family on many vacations. Panama City Beach every summer, Washington, D.C., where it was more like a marathon than a vacation, Jamaica, Hot Springs, Redwood National Forest, the 1984 World Fair, and many other memorable vacations that included many cemeteries. He took his parents on 2 vacations out west, which if you knew them, you probably know how entertaining and difficult that must have been. Ronnie was the chief caregiver for both of his parents. It seems that God always handed Ronnie a new challenge and a different elder to tend. He faithfully attended to both Bud and Marguerite to the end of their lives. Then, when his childless aunts and uncles, Tony, Billy, and Blue, were aging, he continued to care over them until their deaths. He loved all his elders and accumulated many stories. Some of them were experiences they had with him and some stories that they told him. He was the keeper of the family history and legends. He researched on family history, was a passion. He never tired of thinking about it and sharing the stories of ancestors with others. It was his desire that family artifacts be maintained and stay with the family. This was evident as he gathered and brought many parcels of the original Moses Haraway farm as he became available. This family farm was important to him and often said that he was closer to God when he walked that land than anywhere else. As the elderly left this world, Ronnie was blessed with 4 new lives to love and became known as Big Daddy. He had 4 grandchildren, Zachary, Mackenzie, Karalyne, and Bradley. When the kids were young, he would share historical stories in the past, mixed with many funny stories of his elders while he drove them around the pastures to feed and count the cows. As they got older, he would clear the kitchen table every evening from rummikub battles after he had prepared a home-cooked meal from the garden, which also included turnip greens and freshly cut watermelon. Billy Graham said, "The greatest legacy one can pass on to one's children and grandchildren is not money or other material things accumulated in one life, but rather a legacy of character and faith." The road Ronnie traveled left such a legacy from his experience as a member of an extended family, leading to his academic distinction during his education, to his leadership role with the corporation, followed by his patient and loving care for the sick and elderly. He demonstrated his character and faith. His life started with the importance of family and ended with the importance